All right. Charlie.
Does the president believe we're in a period of setback or a period of progress in the fight against ISIS?
Charlie, the president's view on this is that there are areas where we've made important progress. Just a couple of weeks ago, the president ordered a United States military raid inside of Syria to take an important ISIL leader off the battlefield and to gather a significant quantity of important intelligence. That obviously would be a sign of some progress. And then, about the same time, we also saw that Iraqi security forces were driven out of Ramadi, and that obviously is something we've acknowledged as a setback. And we're dealing in a complicated and complex military operation, a military conflict. And what the president wants to do is to make sure that our strategy is oriented to properly reflect those challenges. And that's why we built a coalition of more than 60 nations. It's why we're ramping up the assistance that we can provide to the Iraqi security forces in the form of providing them additional military equipment like AT-4s. And the president is willing to consider other steps consistent with the strategy that he's laid out to make the delivery of that assistance even more efficient.
A new poll today showed that just 32% of Americans support the way the president has handled fight against ISIS. Is the president worried that his message isn't getting out or that he's not doing enough to satisfy Americans?
I think what the president's foremost concern in this regard is not poll numbers, but is actually the need to protect the national security interests of the United States, both here at home and around the world. And the president has led a coalition of more than 60 countries to counter the threat that is posed by ISIL. And the president's been clear about what we will do in the form of using military air power to strike at ISIL and extremist targets inside of Iraq and in Syria. The president's indicated a willingness to order special operations raids where necessary to take out ISIL leaders. The president has also directed his team to focus on training and equipping Iraqi security forces that are under the command and control of the Iraqi central government so that they can be responsible for the security situation in their own country. That's the strategy that the president's laid out. It also includes trying to shut down every method of financing that ISIL benefits from and trying to prevent the flow of foreign fighters to the region. But this is the strategy that the president has laid out, and this is a strategy that has enjoyed some progress, even if we're also facing some setbacks as well.
Is there any response to the news that ISIS is in fact gaining more territory in Syria?
Well, there are some isolated reports. It's a little harder to measure this inside of Syria. We don't have the same kind of cooperative ground force that we do inside of Iraq. There are reports that there are some places, including Palmyra, where ISIL has made some important gains. There are also some areas in northeastern Syria where Syrian fighters who are backed by our military coalition are actually driving ISIL out of some territory in northeastern Syria. So again, I think even just looking at the situation in Syria, you could describe areas of progress and periods of setback. And again, this is consistent with what we see in almost any sort of military conflict. Okay?
Thanks, John.